Rod McKenzie speaks for the Road Haulage Association. Welcome back to the programme, Rod. I read the article with interest, and I need to ask you what cabotage means.
Absolutely, Eddie, and that's a very good question to start with. It can't be the word on everyone's lips at the moment, and it is simply the system by which a lorry enters Britain from the continent with a load, and instead of going straight back with an empty load, an empty trailer, they do other jobs while they're in the UK. They might move some gloves to Northampton or some tomatoes to Newcastle. But they do a couple of those jobs and then they go home. And that is a more efficient way of running lorries, a greener way of running lorries with full loads rather than shuttling around with empty loads. And the same applies for British truckers in Europe. So that's what cabotage is.
And what's going to happen if no deal is agreed between the two parties after December 31st?
Well, cabotage is something that is certainly linked to being in the single market and the EU. And so the EU argues that cabotage should therefore go, and British truckers wouldn't have those advantages of going abroad and doing their job in that way. We think that's unfair. We think that's short-sighted, and we think it's unhelpful because both Britain and the EU rely on trucks to get stuff. And, why would we harm a business that is actually supplying us all with the things we need?
Didn't 17 million people vote for this?
They did indeed. I don't think this was on the ballot paper, as I recall. And I suppose it's one of those hidden issues that crops up in negotiations. Certainly, we think it's very unfortunate, and we think it's very unfortunate that if that it proves to be the sticking point on a free trade agreement.
It's early days, though, isn't it? I mean, I know time is of the essence, but if negotiations are still going on, and this is, in essence, the opening demand, this is the furthest apart the parties will be, yeah?
Well, we'd like to think so, yeah. I mean, the leak, as it were, came from the Barnier team, so it may well be one of those classic EU negotiating tactics of saying it's all going terribly wrong before anything gets said. So let's hope common sense prevails, and the issue about whether lorries can run empty or run full when they're travelling abroad doesn't become a sticking point in these very important trade talks.
Thank you. Rod McKenzie, who speaks for the Road Haulage Association.